Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze this whole situation with Joe Rogan and COVID-19? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I will put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. Joe Rogan is the host of a popular podcast called The Joe Rogan Experience. He is very well known. He has a number of high-profile guests on his show. The show has been described as one of the most consumed media products on the planet. He has a large group of followers who maintain a high level of devotion to him. Rogan has a history of some controversy and unusual thinking. Here are a few examples. He has promoted a number of unusual substances during his career as a podcaster, including LSD, DMT, and mushrooms. He's also a big fan of marijuana, although that isn't unusual anymore. He appears to believe in a number of conspiracy theories. Rogan has promoted the idea that antidepressants are ineffective and exercise can cure depression most of the time. He's also spread misinformation about COVID-19, essentially discouraging young people from getting the vaccine and appearing to support unproven alternative treatments for the illness. Rogan has said he's not anti-vaccination, but his opinions really do seem to run contrary to that assertion. Rogan has made it clear that he has no idea what he's talking about and cautioned people against listening to what he says, yet he's still highly influential. A lot of people listen to his casual interview style and think that he's offering accurate information on various topics. They are using the show as a source of news as well as for entertainment. Rogan has a particular appeal to those who are hesitant about COVID-19 vaccines. He has become kind of a champion for those who are skeptical about the effectiveness of those vaccines and who actively search for alternative treatments. As far as I know, Rogan has never indicated whether he is or is not vaccinated. This brings us to June 22, 2021. Joe Rogan interviews a physician named Pierre Kory. Kory is the president of an organization called Frontline COVID Critical Care Alliance, which is not the same thing as America's frontline doctors, although it would appear there are some similarities in their missions. Kory's alliance advocates for the use of a medication called Ivermectin to treat COVID-19. The alliance argues that the drug could reduce the viral load in people with COVID and shorten the duration of the illness. Kory has stated that ivermectin is a wonder drug and miraculous. These statements attracted a lot of attention, and Kory has become a bit of a hero among conspiracy theorists who believe that big drug companies are suppressing information about miracle cures for COVID. Ivermectin is a horse dewormer that comes in many forms, like injectable, paste, pour-on, and tablets. There are some specific doses of the drug that are approved for human beings to treat parasitic worms and head lice. The doses used for animals are larger and can be very dangerous for humans. At the time of making this video, a number of organizations, including the FDA, are urging people not to take the drug to treat COVID. Ivermectin is not authorized or approved for preventing or treating COVID-19. It appears as though a lot of people became interested in ivermectin after an Australian study found it could kill COVID in a lab, which of course does not necessarily mean the drug is effective in the real world. And we're talking about just one study, so just because it can kill COVID in one lab under certain conditions doesn't mean it can always do that. Prescriptions for the drug in the United States increased from 3,600 a week to 88,000. Poison control centers have experienced a massive increase in calls related to ivermectin. Many people are getting quite frustrated with these individuals who are running out to get ivermectin. I bet this pales in comparison to the anger of the horses. They're probably like, seriously, do we need to start hiding this stuff from you guys? The reality is the current research indicates ivermectin is not an effective treatment for COVID-19. Studies are continuing, and who knows what the future will bring. But at this point, ivermectin does not appear to be promising. There was one study from a university in Egypt that many people grabbed onto. They cited it as proof that ivermectin was effective. The preprint article suggested ivermectin may be effective against COVID, but the article was pulled from a website where it was hosted due to ethical concerns. It contained serious flaws. Just a few examples. The introduction in the paper was almost entirely plagiarized. The researchers claimed they conducted the study between June 8 and September 20 of 2020, yet according to the raw data, most of the patients who died were already dead before June 8. They recorded an interesting date of discharge for one of the patients, 31/06/2020. I'm not sure what calendar they're using. That's a lot of months to be in 1 year. I picture somebody asking, what month is a year and 7 months after December? In addition to these problems, there were many other indications that the study and/or the results were fake, like inconsistencies in the way data were described. Even if someday an article does come out in support of ivermectin, one article does not establish something as a fact. Due to the nature of statistics, there will always be a predictable percentage of studies that will falsely reject the null hypothesis, meaning they will find a treatment is effective when in reality it is not. Now we move to early September 2021. Joe Rogan announces on Instagram that when he returned from a show in Florida, he started to feel very weary, run down, and had a headache. So basically how pro-vaccine people feel when they're watching Joe Rogan. He isolated himself from his family and took a COVID test. The result was positive. He goes on to say that he threw the kitchen sink at it. All kinds of treatments, including monoclonal antibodies, a Z-Pack, prednisone, and ivermectin. Just a few days later, Rogan announced that he felt great. He thanked modern medicine for pulling him out of this so quickly and easily. Rogan received a lot of criticism over this incident. He defended himself by saying multiple doctors told him to take ivermectin. He said the critics didn't highlight how he recovered. They're trying to make it seem as if he was doing something that's completely ineffective. He went on to suggest that there is a grand conspiracy. Pharmaceutical companies are trying to make anyone who takes alternative treatments appear as though they were crazy. The difficulty here with Joe Rogan is that people take him seriously. They look to him as a source of knowledge. Even though he's within his rights to do what he has done, his unorthodox attitude towards science is going to affect people. Many have looked at his circumstance and drawn this conclusion that ivermectin and the other drugs he took somehow defeated COVID. Their use led to Rogan recovering, or recovering more quickly than he would have. The fact that people would believe this underscores how their thinking is just like that of Joe Rogan. They don't understand the difference between causation and correlation. Joe Rogan is a healthy 54-year-old man within a normal weight range. The expected outcome after getting COVID was recovery. I'm sure that Joe Rogan did a lot of things when he had COVID, in addition to taking ivermectin. He probably watched TV, played games on his phone, changed his socks, consumed psychedelics, who knows? Did those activities contribute to him recovering from COVID? Probably not. They just happened to co-occur. He just did them at the same time. There is no causation. Yet people look at his recovery and think ivermectin must have cured him. There's no reason to believe that from a scientific perspective. Now moving to my final thoughts. One of the reasons some people are hesitant about COVID vaccines has to do with trust. For example, on Twitter, to discourage people from taking ivermectin, the FDA wrote, "You are not a horse, you are not a cow. Seriously, y'all, stop it." I can just picture an anti-vaccination person saying, "How do you know I'm not a cow? Are you a veterinarian?" Lack of trust does appear to be a factor, but I think another common reason people are hesitant is fear. There is a desire with the human condition to have certainty, to have power, control, to know that there's something that can be done to bring peace and harmony back to one's life. COVID is an agent not only of death, but chaos. It's unpredictable. One never knows how they will respond to the illness. Because COVID produces anxiety and fear, it actually increases its ability to kill. Just like panic disorder is hard to treat because people who have it don't often seek counseling, COVID is difficult to prevent because so many people are afraid to get the vaccine. The mental health aspects of COVID amplify its threat to physical health. Those are my thoughts on the Joe Rogan COVID situation. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comments section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be more interesting than a horse or a cow. Thanks for watching.